Aquarius, I hope that you're all doing well. This reading is going to be a timeless reading, which means that whenever it is that you're watching it, you can find that this resonates. The first card that we are starting off with is Three of Pentacles. When we have Three of Pentacles, this is a card that is connected with tuning in and listening and communicating. Usually there's something that we are working on or working with, like we're trying to make something happen, and if we can get everybody on the same page and to work together, it's possible that that really can be. The next card that we have is Knight of Pentacles. So this feels like maybe you're even working on something here that's going to allow you to, if this is something that's being worked on, and like this is the thing that's being worked on, maybe over here it's like needing to figure something out with that before you can make a move on it. Because Knight of Pentacles is going to be an action, a step that is taken, and one that you're actually doing in 3D. So this is going to be like you're physically showing up in some type of way. But when we have that Three of Pentacles, it feels like something needs to be figured out before that can happen. Like something may even need to be coordinated before that happens. And then having the moon be there, I feel like if you're going to do this, you know that you're stepping in the direction of something, like you don't really know how this is going to go, because we have the moon. And so the moon is kind of like stepping into a bit of a mystery here. Yeah, it feels kind of like if you're gonna take this step and go in this direction, that you don't know where this is going to go. Like it feels like you know which way you're going, but you don't know what's gonna unfold if you go that way. And maybe there's also some thinking about that too. Like this Knight of Pentacles is feeling like there's a thinking very deliberately about what's being done and what's happening here. Even like, am I really going to do this? I am seeing that a new chapter is slowly but surely unfolding. That's what's behind the moon, a new chapter. But there's a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of this being a process and like a multi-step process, rather than it just being like very quickly you take the steps, things unfold. This feels a bit more involved. But there's a solid nature to what's being built, and maybe that's also part of this too. Like it may take a while for you to do all of this, but at the same time it can be something that you find is going to be lasting. And you can really be working with your intuition and your feelings right now, maybe in a way that's guiding you through this process. If we're seeing Three of Pentacles as something that you are learning to work with, be flexible with, cooperate with, and to gain some type of grounding, and we have this be connected with Page of Cups, this can be like, I'm learning to work with my intuition. I'm learning to work with the feelings that I get and to listen to them. I'm learning to work with the messages that I receive, and then take my experience that I'm having and apply that physically in the way that I'm showing up. So there's like a physical application of this that's derived from a feeling that you're experiencing. I feel like in so many of the readings recently, Nine of Swords has been coming up. It's in the very center of this. We have the moon and we have Nine of Swords. This actually feels like covering up the way that you feel. Like you can be having a lot of thoughts about something. You can be really like struggling or suffering mentally or emotionally, but to have the moon there, I'd say that like that nobody else really is aware of this. This can be something that's more so like when you really tune in, there's something going on where you're going through like a major heavy process right now. But as far as what's being seen externally, like there may not be a full awareness of this. You know, like when we have the moon can be connected with what's going on, but that there's stuff kind of covering it up. And so if this is something purely on an internal level that you're experiencing, maybe people around you don't really notice that you're in like such a severe state of the experience that you're having, yet it's here, it's present, but it can be somewhat covered up or maybe not easily seen for some reason. And that can even be like whether it's deliberate or not, right? Like we can hide that we're going through something. It can be seen in the energy, obviously, but the way that this is coming through feels like either you can be really scared about something or really feeling anxious or really in your head, but not really letting that on. This can be another person. If they're also part of this process for you, they can be in a lot of turmoil and they can be processing a lot, but they wouldn't really be letting you know here, at least the way that this is coming through. You know, like somebody can be really struggling with things, but not really saying, or they can be really moving through a big process mentally, not really saying. I think it's like not saying how intense this is, like not saying how heavy this is, not saying how deep this actually is. And with that Three of Pentacles, like I wonder if you're working with this person or if they're working with you and that's kind of your position through this. I'm seeing a relationship popping up, but having Four of Swords before it, maybe there's something that's slowed down between you and another person. Or you could be taking a break from a relationship or certain relationships, or you can be like tuning in more and listening more and talking less with Four of Swords and the Lovers. Because the Lovers are Gemini after all, so, and how we have Mercury popping out next to it. But then we also have the Three of Swords. I wonder if like something feels like it's broken in the communication with you and this person. Because I am seeing a new chapter that you're starting, and this seems very much like together. It doesn't have to be another person. I feel like I say this all the time. The Lovers, it doesn't have to be another person. It can be like maybe you like paired up with a company now that you're gonna be working with. Let's just say that it's another person because it's easier to communicate, and then if the energy is different, you know, it can be like kind of metaphorically, you can apply that within your life. The way that this is going, it looks like there can be things that one wants to say, but there can also be a feeling of needing to be grounded and needing to have one's kind of like mental energy stabilize prior to being able to do this. Then having the Lovers and having Magician can be you being on the same page with this person, and that communication is important, but having that Three of Swords there, you can feel like there's some type of rift between you and this person, or there's some issue, like something is broken within the communication with them, or there can just even be something like upsetting that's going on. But then having Magician here, you can like know something's going on in the environment, but you can still be trying to make something happen, but you can also feel like this thing is kind of getting in the way of that. It feels like if this weren't here, I'd say that you and this person are like taking it slow and figuring things out and trying to like make something happen together. Like this is a mutual manifestation that you'd have with this person. Yet because of seeing this here, I feel like this is maybe, there's something that this is doing. It's like having some type of effect on the process. And it's really affecting the way that somebody feels. I think like mostly about themselves. Something has not fully been seen about this. Okay, I just need to put this out there. I just need to put it out there. For some of you, You may have found yourself in a situation with someone where there's actually like a big problem, or there is something that feels very unhealed between you and this person, but it came in the form of the expression of something that was meant to be recognized that I don't think has fully been recognized. I hope that is not coming across cryptic. It's just like, there may be something that needs to be recognized that has not fully been recognized between you and this person, where you may be trying to make something work that may not necessarily be able to go where you want it to go. It almost feels like one of those situations where it's like you and this person, you may want it to work very badly, but having that 3 of Swords, 2 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, maybe there's some type of like incompatibility here with them. Because 3 of Swords feels like there actually is a problem, but we haven't totally uncovered where that's coming from. So something could have happened that was just a symptom of a deeper issue, that with that 2 of Swords next to it feels like we still haven't even gotten to the root of what that was about, and it was about something. And it feels like it actually has to do with reciprocity between you and this person. So even though you can be showing up, it's going to be like, just put the energy where it goes. Like, this can be you or it can be the other person. I'm seeing somebody showing up, like trying to make things better, but there's also this fear of things happening. It also feels like it's like the part of you that already has recognized what's going on in the cycle is feeling this hesitance a little bit, or this anxiety a little bit of what's going to be up ahead, because that part of you already knows what it is in this situation. But I don't know, like maybe it can be different than that. Who knows? From everything that I'm seeing, I just feel like there's stuff going on that you're experiencing with this person, that there are just like root issues, like core issues that have not totally been realized, that you are experiencing the uncomfortable output of the symptoms that are connected with those things in your relationship. And it feels like that is not, because you haven't gotten to the root of it, it's like something still hasn't been taken care of. And this can be something that one doesn't want to admit to, or it can be just something that's like blocking us from knowing the deeper truth of what this is. And it has to do something with you and this person, and if things can actually work in a sustainable, fluent way with the two of you, or if it's like always going to be a problem. And then that's going to lend itself to, I think, like bigger questions even that we can be asking about this situation. And with all of this going on, I feel like you can be really trying to take care of yourself at a time when it can feel like mentally very stressful, like there's a lot of strain. And I think there's also a lot of fear of knowing that you may be stepping you may be like on the precipice here of something that could potentially be either very heartbreaking or healing. And it's like, well, which one is it going to be? We don't really know with that 2 of Swords there. And I feel like you've been actively trying to work with this person, but something still, you don't have all the information yet. Actually, you do have the information, but it hasn't all been consciously found. And I think it's because there can be a resistance to, when we want something more than we want the truth, it's going to block us from seeing things as they really are. And whether this is something that you feel good about or that you don't feel good about, it's going to block you either way if you're not allowing yourself to fully recognize. You can feel like you and this person are kind of in a little bit of a different place, maybe even like philosophically within your lives. That can be something as well, or like lifestyle. It doesn't only have to be that though. I feel like it's coming back to values. It's like if something is really important to the other person and it does not matter at all to you, and you have stuff that's important that they're just like not checked in about, you know, there's gonna be tension there. And I think that something hasn't fully been recognized yet within the dynamic between you and this person, because there's a desire to not acknowledge it. So even though you can be carrying on and you're having this new chapter with this person, that Three of Swords is what's behind the moon. And what this means too is that on like a personal, individual level for you, there's something here that you're in the process of healing. It's in the process of happening with Temperance connected with Three of Swords. So it's not like you're not touching this at all. It feels like you're here working with this person, trying to work something out with them. And what's in the process of happening as you're doing this is that you're healing unconscious energy, and this can be wounding and stuff. So you're in the process of doing that too, but it may just lead you in a bit of a different direction with this person than you initially thought. So I'm also seeing this thing be here about getting your mind right so that you can take steps that are actually going to count and build something, and that there's an intention to be here, like this is what I'm trying to do, but still something that's not being seen. And it has to do with reciprocity between you and this person. It has to do with something about the compatibility between you and this person. It has to do with needs being met between you and this person. And I get this feeling from everything that I'm seeing is that if you were, there's just something that is not being seen clearly yet. There's something that's going on that is actually center to this process, but because of the implications of what that means, it has not been fully acknowledged. I think it's the symptoms of it have been acknowledged, but the root of it has not been acknowledged, and that's actually the point of this. But I also get the sense that you're kind of like on the way to that being uncovered, but this is showing for sure that it has not been fully uncovered yet at this point. It's like, yeah, it's like you've caught energy where it's permeated out from the root of this, but you have not gotten to the root yet of it with you and this person. So even though this is being worked on, it feels like this is to say that you don't have, it's this thing again where it's like, I want to say you don't have all the information, but you actually do. It just hasn't all been, it's kind of like if you're in a room trying to find something, it's like it's in that room with you, what you're trying to find. You just haven't found it yet, but you're in the room. And you've found other stuff that's like linked to it, but you just haven't found the actual thing yet. It's like if you have something casting a shadow, you have like found the shadow, but you haven't like gotten to the like genesis of this. And what that means too, because when we are working on a cycle and there is another person involved, it means actually that like both of you guys are paralleling each other going through that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be relevant for both of you guys as a couple or like pair, whatever, as a unit, whatever you want to call the container for your relationship with this person. if you guys were not both going through a compatible thing, this would only be happening with one of you and not with the other. But because of this being in the context of your relationship, this is actually something that both of you guys are going through together with one another. Like this is an individual thing that's happening for you, and it's an individual thing that's happening for them. And that's why you guys are scene partners. You're acting partners in this scene with one another, because this storyline is relevant to both of you guys, but it's also relevant to your individual stories as well. You're just having this shared experience with them. So this isn't like it only happened because it's you and this person together. It's like this has to do with your stuff, has to do with their stuff, and that you guys can play this out with one another. And that's also part of what's happening here. But there's like something about the storyline that hasn't totally unfolded yet at this point, even though I'm seeing you it feels like on the way to finding it. It's like you are in the room and you can be actually quite near to this, but it has not been found yet. I will say this too. When I didn't mention this because I didn't want to start the reading with it, but when I was doing the pre-shuffle for this reading, I was seeing 7 of Swords and I was seeing 2 of Cups. And what that can mean is that something is being held. Yeah, let's break it down in all of the ways. Something is being held within you that you may be keeping to yourself. Like this can be a secret, or it can be something that you're even telling yourself it's like not a thing, but it's actually a thing, and it has not been exposed, it has not been spoken about. It can be something very much repressed. And also this other person, the same thing with them. And there's something going on within the dynamic where it seems like you're keeping something from this person and they're keeping something from you, but it's like both of you guys actually. But the reason like why this can happen is because you can be like kind of keeping something from yourself, from being totally present to it. It may be something that, it may be a part of yourself that you don't want to fully expose here. And that's what the 7 of Swords is about, shadow energy. Shadow energy is just that which we have not brought awareness to, understanding, that which we have not brought light to. But I don't think that there's something going on with this other person too, where both of you guys have something like that, and it has not been brought into the mutual space with the 2 of you. And I think that that's also what part of this is about too, because it's like if everybody were telling the truth here, I think that this would be something that that had been exposed already, but we're like not there yet. And that can very much be the case, having the moon be at the center of this. It's like at the apex of the spread, and this being the thing that has not been unveiled yet, because it can be like, you know, behind the moon we have 9 of Swords and we have Magician. It can be like, I've been thinking about this, I can't get it off my mind. It doesn't even have to be like that actually. Like the way that this can be is like something that actually freaks us out so much that we have not talked about it. Something that we kind of like know is there, but it's like you only see it in your peripheral vision. Because as soon as you like start noticing it, it's like you close your eyes or you look in a different direction, but it's like on the outskirts of something here. And so it has not been communicated. And I want to say this again, this can only be happening if it's happening with both people. Because of the way that this energy is coming out. This isn't one person, so don't be thinking they're keeping something from me. And it has to do with both of you guys. And it has to do with your relationship. But it has to do with each of you on an individual level first, and then it's something that is having play within your relationship with this person. And the only reason I brought that up is because I'm seeing it again as I was going to clarify the Three of Swords. So this is definitely what it is. I think that it can be where there has not been full honesty and transparency. And that doesn't mean every single thought you have on your mind, you're like obligated to be telling, but it's something that we know it should be told. And that's why it has kind of like the power and the effect that it does. It's like withholding actual relevant information that would kind of change things, but there can be this desire to avoid. The thing about this is that like we don't know, like this could be liberating or it could be the destruction of something, but if the imperative is truth, wouldn't that let everything fall where it's supposed to then? So I think when we're still trying to kind of maneuver things because we think that we know better, it can get in the way. And I think that that's really why things haven't happened fully yet. Because otherwise I think that things would have been sped up a bit, and this is why they're happening more slowly. But yeah, it can be like something that one like doesn't really want to acknowledge is the feeling with this. And so even though there can be this, like, what's wrong though? I'm physically showing up. Because I'm seeing there being like an actual showing up here. Like there really is. It's like, what's wrong though? I'm showing up. But it's like when the intention is something, because everything, action that's taken, the seed of the action that's taken, the root of the action that's taken is aligned with the intention. And so there can be a, like, it's just like the intention is aligned with something that hasn't totally been exposed here. And that's why there's also not a full awareness of like what's actually being built between you and this person. But in our hearts, we know the intention, but it can be like, well, I wasn't totally clear about that. And so even though there's a showing up, something else is being built, essentially. But that hasn't fully been recognized. And then you can be like, why does it look a little slanted over there in that corner? And so you're seeing these little signs about it, but it feels like there's also a lot of other stuff that kind of looks like mostly okay. But they're just little signs. And if we are willing to totally acknowledge that, all of the information is there. It's just, I think, a matter of willingness and a matter of desire for the truth over what we think maybe we want to be happening here, or what should happen, or us feeling like, well, I know better. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I'm seeing Sagittarius, Pisces, Taurus, here in Cancer, Capricorn, Gemini. And we have Mercury too. Anything else about the signs? I think something with Mercury is playing a big part in this just because that's the only planet that we have. Looking at Nine of Wands and Strength. Yeah. If you're willing to, you're going to get into a place of acknowledgement. I just think that there can be like a lot of resistance to it because, like, who wants to tell the truth and then feel the pain of that? And it hurts because when we haven't been being honest, like, from the very beginning. And, like, I'm not saying I'm not saying that it was done on purpose. I'm not saying anything like that, you know, because it's not like you look at another person and you're like, I'm not going to tell them the truth. Not in this scenario. This is more so like, could have had something that you weren't ready to face within yourself, and now it can be something where if this is coming out in the reading, you're becoming more aware of it. And so action can be taken on it, but there can be this feeling of like, I'm not bringing that up, you know, like all of the ways that our shadow is like, don't say anything about it. You've been keeping it like down this whole time. Like, why say something now? You don't know what's going to happen if you say something. There's like a vulnerability within it. And then your shadow's like, this is like inconsequential. You don't need to say anything about it. And it's like, meanwhile, that's not actually the case. But what's to be said about this is that there's stuff that's going on that's not being talked about. And it's because it exposes something difficult that's already going on. It just hasn't been being talked about. Because this is already happening within the connection, but it feels like... And that's why I'm getting this thing about there being something broken in the communication with you and this person, because you guys are actually... It's weird because it's like you are on the same page, but not in the way that you think. And we can leave it at that. All right. We are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.